Yeah, so speaking of, so with Superman, Jordan, like Batman, I wanted to go all the way back to the beginning. I wanted to go all the way back to the beginning of Superman on screen, and I wanted to hit two. Now this is not the one of these. So I'm smashing two things into one because one of them was really short. So I went all the way back to the 1950s. And this is not the first appearance of Superman on camera. He's had several more appearances before this. But this is the first appearance of the George Reeves Superman from Adventures of Superman. And this is a movie, very short, not even just barely under an hour. It's called Superman versus the Mole Man.
Years ago, when the planet Krypton, home of a race of supermen, exploded in space, the sole survivor was an infant boy who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Today, that boy, grown to manhood, is known as Superman.
How does it look?
Just like any other oil well.
Above ground, sure, but take my word for it, it's the deepest ever drilled.
Well, that's more than 6 miles down.
Good heavens, practically to the center of the earth.
Just what was in that report? I mean the one that you sent to the Home Office.
You're the newspaper man.
That's right, I'm Clark Kent from the Metropolis Daily Planet.
Oh, they had the bodies of moles and great big human heads. They were just horrible. Those creatures killed that poor old man, and they wanted to kill me.
And the plot of it is, it's a black and white movie. Lois and Clark show up at this oil rig that they're writing a story on, and the oil miners, oil riggers, have accidentally tapped into the home of underground mole people, who, or seemingly at first they think it might be radioactive isotope like phosphorus. They don't know what it is. They don't know if it's radioactive or if it's dangerous or what it is. All they know is it's not oil. So they pull that up initially, and the guy in charge shuts down the thing, and he's like, it's too dangerous, we can't, everything's closed down. So it turns out that he has tapped into the home of these mole men who come up from their home kind of curious. They come up, they're like, what is this, all this? You've hit our home, you struck our home. We don't know what's going on, and they're kind of scary looking. Like they're made up to look kind of scary looking. They run into like the watchman of the site, give him a heart attack and kill him, and the town gets all riled up and they form an angry mob. And you're expecting with a name called Superman versus the Mole Man that Superman is gonna
fight the Mole Man,
but he doesn't, because Big twist, it's the 1950s. This is actually kind of an impressive twist. Turns out that the mole men are not actually the bad guys, Jordan, and that the bad guys are man and mass hysteria. And so one point they've got the mole men cornered, and they shoot one of them, and he falls off of this.
Now, is it mole men or mole man?
I've got written mole man, but it's mole men. There's more than one.
Okay. Okay. Sorry, I needed to clarify.
I think the title is Mole Man, but it might be Mole Men, and it might be a typo. I might have a typo here. That's possible. I cannot be bothered to Google it at this time.
I understand.
So they shoot one, and the other one runs away, and they're like the angry mob is trying to get it so they can string it up and kill it. And eventually,
it looks different than us. It needs to die.
And so eventually, Superman shows up and is like, "No,
Don't even try to get in there, Benson. Dr. Reed's in charge tonight. He's left orders that no one's to be admitted."
That's your answer, mister.
It may be an answer to you. It means nothing to me.
Yeah, well, we're running this town. We ought to string you up, too. Yeah.
Are you all right, Miss Lane?
You're gonna step aside or we have to make trouble.
Put some lead in him, Luke.
Mr. Benson tried that once already. It didn't work. Now I'm going to give you one last chance to stop acting like Nazi stormtroopers.
Who are you to tell us what to do?
All I'm telling you is that little creature in there has as much right to live as you do. Don't forget, you invaded his world. You sank a pipe 6 miles into the ground. And when he climbed up, you set dogs on him, shot him.
Basically, like you shot this thing unprovoked. You guys are the ones who like drilled into their homes. You disturbed them. You bothered them. They came up here out of curiosity. They haven't done anything. to warrant this level of aggression. Like, you guys need to chill the fuck out. And
you're all adults. You should know better,
right? And so what's interesting is the movie starts with a really quite a long, maybe 4 or 5 minute long for this kind, the length of this movie, introduction to Superman. And so anyway, so I'll explain the intro in a second because it's really interesting. But in that intro, they don't say that they say that the Kryptonians are a race of Supermen. So it's not that Superman comes to our planet and gets superpowers from being on our planet.
They always had powers.
They always had powers. Yeah.
That's different.
Yeah, and yeah. And so he flies in this. I think he technically still flies, and he's bulletproof. But it's weird because his powers are sort of inconsistent because there's moments where like he's struggling to hold open a door, like close a door, like the angry mob's trying to bust in, and he's holding the door closed so they can't get in, and he's kind of struggling. So like you're like how this is as we get to the end of our Superman special, this is a thing I kind of wanted to say earlier, but I find that Superman has been wildly overpowered. Like in All-Star Superman, he's effectively this god who can do anything and doesn't really get hurt or injured. Or in Man of Steel, same deal. Like he's an otherworldly god. In this, he's just a slightly stronger guy who can jump really far. Like, then so that's where it's like, yeah, he can still get beaten up, he can still get punched and hit and like all that jazz. So it's like a lot of his early stuff is just like he lands and like, it's not to say he's not fighting guys. Like in this movie, like there's points where he's fighting off the crowd, where like he's punching, he's doing punches, where he flies and he like does an uppercut and sends a guy flying. Or at one point he literally lifts a guy up and just tosses him. It's really funny. But yeah, I just thought that the thing that was the most interesting to me about this movie was that the moral of it is that the humans are the bad guys, and that you shouldn't be immediately distrustful of people that you don't know or that you don't understand. And you should act like, at one point I think Superman literally says, we need to learn to talk to each other and work things out. And that's such a fascinating message when you remember that this is 1950. This movie is out in. Like we're like post World War II. We're like Cold War. Xenophobia towards the Japanese and Jewish people is at an all-time high. Like people are xenophobic towards Germans and Russians, and like so to have Superman come in and be like, yeah guys, maybe you don't need to be immediately distrustful is so fascinating. So yeah, this was only an hour long.
Because Superman is always supposed to be the ideal of the betterment, and he's supposed to be better than what's going on in the world. So.
Yeah, right. And so because I finished this was so quick, I was like, you know what, in the go the flashback to the Death of Superman Lives, they mentioned, as I mentioned, was inspired by the Fleischer cartoons. So I needed to watch those. I was like, you know what, I have time, let's watch some Fleischer cartoons. Now the Fleischer cartoons, Jordan, because I can tell you're blinking at me, you don't know what those are.
Up in the sky, look!
It's a bird!
It's a plane! It's Superman!
First animated appearance of Superman. Very first animated appearance of Superman. There are a series of, I tried to do my research to see if they were theatrical shorts, but I don't know if they went to theaters or if they were on television. But they're very pretty. Like I totally recommend, if you're a fan of Superman, and this is for you as well. You're not gonna be able to watch them on TV. I don't think they're on anything else. But if you like, you're on your phone, they're like 10 minutes a piece. They're totally worth checking out. They were rotoscoped. You know what rotoscoping is, right? You're an animation guy. You know what rotoscoping is.
It's a type of 2D animation.
It's where you film the person. So like when Snow White, large portions of Snow White was rotoscoped. So like, you know when Snow White does the dancing?
Yeah.
They actually film the person dancing and then they just draw over top of it.
Oh yeah.
That's why if you've ever seen those memes of people being like, Disney reuses animation, that's why. because they've just rotoscoped over the same footage. So that's what they did for this. So a lot of this is rotoscoped. So the animation is super fluid. And yeah, so it's really funny. It's really funny that they said in that documentary that they were based on this. He didn't fly in this because these cartoons are where they introduced the concept of Superman flying. So initially, the first short is he that this is where he's faster than a locomotive, leap tall buildings in a single bound.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. The infant of Krypton is now the man of steel.
It starts off that, and then by the second or third short, it's now they change it every single time. But one of them is like he flies higher than the highest plane.
Able to soar higher than any plane. This amazing stranger from the planet Krypton, the man of steel, Superman.
So now he flies, and what's really funny is like it gets to a point where these came out in 1940. So he's in World War II. He's fighting guys in World War II, or he's
punching a Nazi.
Yeah, he's preventing conflict in World War II, and so we talked about in our Batman episode. We talked about the 1940s Batman, and I said how that was unbelievably racist.
Step back. Are you Jap devil?
What's interesting about this one is it's not unbelievably racist. It's like, yeah, the caricatures of the Japanese people certainly are. Like, they certainly are kind of racist. But she at one point calls them Japs. Like, it's... And they don't say anything derogatory about the Germans, yeah. But, like, he doesn't treat them any differently than he does any of the other thugs. So, like, and you're like, oh, well, okay, they're of course... They're doing the job, but then the next episode he fights the Germans, and he treats them exactly the same way. And it's the same thing earlier. He fights gangsters. And not every episode ends with him punching a guy. Like the one episode, it ends with him like remember that bit in Batman versus Superman where it's Superman dragging the boat with the chain?
Yes, I believe so.
That's literally a reference to the Fleischer cartoons, where there's literally a bit from one of those where he's dragging the boat by the chain, and it looks just like the scene from that movie.
Interesting.
There's the first one is he literally, it's a guy, he's shooting a laser beam, and it ends with him just punching the laser beam. Like, he's such a, and that's where the crest, the symbol, is black. It's black and with the red. It's the old school one. And yeah, they're really cool. Like, just in terms of, it's really fascinating. That's where the intro in the movie is the same intro that plays in the front of where it's like he comes from Krypton. He's mild-mannered reporter. And that Kryptonians are a race of supermen. And not that he gets his powers when he comes to Earth. And so that made me wonder, like, when did him becoming charged by solar energy and being charged from the sun, when did that originate? Where did that come from? But yeah, so that's where I'm like, it bums me out that the cultural understanding of Superman is that he's this dark character, because he's not a dark character. That's not his purpose. His purpose is, like, even in the 1940s, like peak, again, World War II, peak World War II, xenophobia towards the rest of the world is at this all-time high, and even they understand Superman doesn't discriminate. Like, the fact that these cartoons, like these movies, it's funny. The Kevin Davis was like, oh, no one's gonna be offended. We joked about it. We're not gonna do the jokes we did to each other because they're not appropriate. But we were joking about how progressive. There's a moment. Okay, I'm gonna do a subdued version of it. But
I don't know if you can.
There's a moment in one of the Fleischer cartoons where Perry White says to Lois Lane, I'm taking you off of this story. I'm gonna put Clark on it instead. I'm gonna put someone else on it instead. And she feels comfortable enough in her workplace to be like, no, I wanted that, sir. I wanted it to be that. And Perry White doesn't turn around and tell her to stop talking because she's a woman. Like, shut up!
Or some other horrible thing.
Right? He listens to her. Like, she is a ahead of her time character in every version of her. Like, in the 50s one, she's a tough as nails, like she stands, like, there's a point where, like, a guy goes to hit her and he hits her back, or she hits him back. Like he's about to hit her and she smacks him across the face. And it's like, yeah, she's like a tough chick. Like she is really progressive. Like Lois Lane is a very progressive character. And so it's just so funny when people are, if I see anyone be like, Superman is, anytime I see someone complain, like I have seen, because that clip of Superman getting interviewed by Lois Lane has kind of popped up. And people are complaining about her already and calling it woke or whatever. And I'm like, that's Lois Lane. Like she's always been like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, the movie is all right. It's black and white. It's a bit slow. It's not, but those cartoons, if you can find them, like I don't know if some of them might be on YouTube, but like as a part of Superman's history, they're worth checking out. Like they're really fun. I really enjoyed them. Hey there, everybody. It's NCard Justin here. Let me know down in the comments why I'm right and why Superman has always been, you can't see me, I'm doing air quotes, woke or whatever, and why he's definitely an illegal alien. He's an immigrant. He's an immigrant from another planet. It's like the whole point. Anyway, you let me know your thoughts down in the comments down below. But in the meantime, if you'd like to see our full Superman super special, you click the box on the left. Or if you want to see a random video that YouTube thinks you're going to enjoy, click the box on the right. Either way, hit subscribe if you haven't already. We put new videos out 7 days a week, including the podcast on Sundays. Or you could just leave us a like. That helps us out too. We will see you all in the next video. Have a good day, everybody.